Oh,
And we're live.
hello and welcome to Shoot the Work with Lewis and Jason.
Hey everybody, Abby Jason.
Nabby Lewis.
Nice. Now we've got the intros out of the way. What are we doing?
So, just a wee follow up to our Royal Rumble predictions episode, which if you haven't listened to that yet, there's not much point now. But we're
Well, I
doing,
don't know. They should maybe listen anyway and just see how wrong or right we were.
yeah, yeah, you should. But anyway,
Anyway, what are we doing right now?
we're going for a Road to WrestleMania episode. So we're going to look at what we want to see in the next couple of months, leading up to WrestleMania 37. On April 10th and 11th. So yeah, we're going to look at what we want to see in the build up, and then we're going to spend most of the episode talking about what we want to actually see at the show of shows. But just before we do, quick reminder, we're still giving away a Hangman Adam Page action figure from the AEW Unrivaled Series 2. Yeah, you just need to go and listen to the end of year awards episode that we did. And there's a little hidden trivia question in that. So listen to that, get the question, go onto our Twitter and send us the answer. And we'll enter you into the prize draw. We've we've not had too many entrants, which is why we're still doing the giveaway. And by not too many, I mean none. So literally, if you message us at all, you're probably going to win. So
Yep.
get to doing that.
We must
People
be
must just not like Hangman Page.
maybe, or I was like, I'd maybe blame it on the question. We're so good. The question was so tough. Wasn't actually, but you should get it. You should get it.
Tell you what, a quick reminder of the question, a wee surprise reminder of
Oh,
the question.
oh.
So, Randy Orton beat Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship recently. What does that make his total world title reigns now? So, how many world title reigns has Randy Orton had, including his most recent one? Yeah, so just go onto our Twitter. It's at Shoot the Work, all one word, and just send us a message with the answer, and you'll probably get a free Hangman Adam Page sent to you. We'll ship it and everything.
Nice. I'm just going to add that was well remembered in the question. Well remembered.
Yeah, I was racking my brain for a second. I was like, what's the question again?
Yes. And now that we know what we're talking about, we know about the giveaway that you must get. Road to WrestleMania. To WrestleMania, as
So
Santino
it
Marella
has
used to say.
it has officially kicked off with Royal Rumble. As always, the road to WrestleMania starts right here at the Royal Rumble. But yeah, so it's weird because I mean, Jason, you were saying yourself just before we started the
Yeah.
recording, they've not really set much up yet, which is strange because usually by now you can sort of tell where things are going.
Mhm.
But they've not really made it clear what the plan is, to be honest.
No, it's kind of strange. Like apart from obviously your Royal Rumble winners, who you don't know exactly who, but you know they're going to be in it. And
Yeah.
Wrestle don't know who they're going to face yet.
Thing is,
Well,
I
and
think the only sort of obvious match that's going to happen, I think, is Bianca and Sasha, because that's just a license to print money. Plus, Asuka's involved in the whole thing with the tag titles and Charlotte and that, so it's
Could be
fairly
Charlotte
obvious
Asuka.
Bianca's.
Yeah, you can see Charlotte Asuka happening. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know, but with Charlotte, I think maybe. Do you think the feud between Charlotte and our dad and are gonna is gonna end like at Fastlane or
Yeah, I reckon they'll wrap up that storyline before Mania. That doesn't really give me a WrestleMania feeling, unless they just want to have Ric Flair there, in which case they might. But I honestly think they'll have that sorted before
Mhm.
Mania. And I think you will see Charlotte in. a Raw Women's title match with Asuka. I hope Asuka wins though, actually, because Asuka needs to get a win back on Charlotte. I don't want to see Charlotte beat her again because we've seen that already, and it's just I don't know.
I was impressed by Bianca Belair. Her promo when she was talking about which champion she was going to face. I did like the part when she was talking about Asuka not being the Empress of Tomorrow. She's the Empress of all day, every day. I was like, that was pretty clever.
Bianca Belair's just amazing. She's so good, and I think she's the perfect choice to have won the Rumble. Because
Mm-hmm.
with Bianca, they did what you should do with the Rumble, and they have taken someone who's still quite new.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows they're really good. They've not really got much going on, so they've
Yeah,
made her win the Rumble, and that's just going to catapult her to the main event. And I
yeah.
reckon we'll see Bianca Belair in the main event scene for a long time.
No, I did say in the previous episode that like it was kind of like a toss up for me. Like I thought either Bianca Belair would be a good pick, but I thought that they would maybe edge it with Rhea Ripley, but they went with Bianca, which is still a very good pick, to be honest.
It was cool seeing them be the last two, like
Well,
eliminate Charlotte, and it was Bianca and Rhea's the final two. I
I
like
liked
that.
the I liked the it was a full repeat because last year at this time in NXT, Charlotte came to NXT and Bianca Belair was feuding with Ripley, and it was the three of them in the ring at the same time. So it's
Hmm.
like exactly a year on, they're in the same ring again, but it's Royal Rumble. It was pretty cool to see.
And
Um,
plus, I mean, Rhea looked like a total star as well.
yep,
She's going to do big things, I think.
I'm just gonna put this out here. Like next year, the men's rumble need to up their game because like the women's rumble was, I think it was much better. It it,
Well, yeah,
it really it really was.
the women's really outshone. The men's rumble was good, but the women's one really outshone the men's this year, I think,
Oh yeah,
in
and like,
terms of who was in it, who
mhm,
won it,
yep,
and just the overall match quality.
the
Yeah,
match
the women's
quality
was a lot better.
even shoved the 24/7 title change in the middle of it, which was cool.
Which people have been saying they wanted to see in the men's rumble for ages since the 24/7 title came into play.
Mhm,
People wanted to see that in the rumble, and they've still not done it, but they did it in the women's. Um,
mhm.
but yeah, I've just on that note, if you haven't listened to our 24/7 title episode, go listen to that now. But cheap
Cheap
plug.
plug. So
But
yeah, I know that's
yeah, so like you say, the only two
mhm.
sort of things that we know is Edge is in a title
Yep,
match and
Bianca Belair.
Bianca
So
is probably going to face
yeah,
Sasha.
yeah. So yeah, we covered that because we know, but we don't know, but it looks like it, and I don't see her going to NXT like Charlotte did because there's no reason for her to do that.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't see her taking on Io Shirai.
there's no point. I don't think. Like, I know they're trying to make it equal, but it's not. It's like you've been at NXT, like you need a SmackDown or a Raw's Women's title, but
Uh,
I
but
think.
before we get to Mania though, the next pay per view that we've got coming up at the end of this month, I think it's the 21st, is Elimination Chamber. So we've got that to look forward to.
Yeah, what's kind another part that's kind of gutting though is that you've got the elimination chamber coming, and like the people that have won the rumble and like they're not really allowed to be in it because they're going to be at Mania doing the title shot
Yeah.
anyway. You know, I doubt Edge would want to do an elimination chamber match at the age that he is. I doubt.
No, no.
I think he's like, nah, I'll just win the rumble and I'll pass. Like I think he would. Um, but yeah, Edge. We've obviously covered the women's rumble, and Bianca's gonna. We think it's gonna be Sasha. What about Edge? What you feeling for him actually going to Mania?
Yeah, it's weird because I mean, you and I were talking about this yesterday as well. Like
My God,
the way that
this is like shit the works behind the scenes. Like we were speaking off podcast on this.
no, I know it's weird the way that they've done the whole thing with Edge because they've sort of teased him challenging all three champions.
I
because
know.
they had him appear on Raw with Drew, they had
Mm,
him appear on SmackDown with Finn Balor and Pete Dunne, and then they had him on no NXT, sorry, and then they had him on SmackDown with Roman.
uh-huh.
So I mean, he really realistically he could challenge any of them, and I could see him putting on a decent match with any of the three.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I would want him to see him face Roman, because if we're not going to get Roman versus Rock this year,
Mhm.
you need a really good substitute for that. Because
Mhm.
a lot of people knew that the plan was Roman Rock, and they're going to
Yeah.
be disappointed that they're not getting that. So having Edge fight Roman would be quite good, but at the same time, I don't want Roman to lose the title.
No.
So I think if that is what they do, I think Edge is going to need to lose.
Edge is going to need to lose. Well, as much as we're forever agreeing, like he needs to lose if he faces Roman Reigns.
Yeah, yeah. If he
But
faces Roman, he needs to lose.
but he can take a title off Drew McIntyre, and as much as it
Don't
pains me to
want him
say it
to.
because he's the hometown boy, like, but but I think maybe Drew and Sheamus can wrap up their feud by Fastlane. You got because we keep forgetting that these guys have got to get through two pay-per-views. Like,
Yeah,
so because at first I was thinking, oh well, Edge is might go to Finn Balor because everybody that he's seen has been like stunned or kicked in the face. You know what I mean? So I was like, but I think Sheamus could wrap up his feud with Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre wins it, and then Edge because then you could see Edge winning because Edge would need to lose if he was to get Roman Reigns at Mania
mm,
because Reigns is just too good, and he's finally enjoying a streak where he's like believable, and people kind of, although he's meant to be the bad guy, people kind of like him. They like his character, where before he was just getting booed, no matter
so
who he
yeah,
was. But so you don't want then him to finally get that, and then Edge to come in and beat him. But Edge, I think he kind of needs a world title at Mania. Like I kind of think he does just because of everything that happened in his career.
yeah. See, it's weird though because WWE have this thing where they did it last year. Mania, where because obviously they've got the NXT takeover that usually happens, and now instead they're doing just the 2 nights at WrestleMania. But I might be wrong about this, but I don't think so. Adam Cole didn't defend the NXT title on Mania last year, did he? It was only Rhea. Adam Cole wasn't on the card for Mania.
No, because they usually make NXT separate on a takeover, do they not?
Yeah,
But
but they
then
had
they,
Rhea on it because Charlotte challenged her. So I think they might do that this year if they had Edge challenge Finn Balor. Then it gets an NXT title match on the WrestleMania card. But you're as well just defending both titles. Just put both the title because it's at the end of the day, it's
Mhm,
weird the way WWE do this, where they acknowledge that it is their third brand, but then they also do everything they can to keep it separate.
mhm.
Because it's like we know you own NXT, so just put those are your titles. Put them on your main show.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not have both NXT titles on that show?
Unless you're telling me
Um,
that it's not good enough to be on Mania, like, so.
exactly. But then this was the thing, because this was why it was so strange last year, because they
Mhm.
had the women's NXT title, but not the men's. It's like, well, what?
Aye,
But
so
then,
so
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 that's
Rhea
what makes me
Ripley.
think he might challenge
Yep.
Balor this year. So then they can say, right, well, we've got the men's, but not the women's.
Yeah.
Um, oh.
Wow. Yeah,
See,
but
I disagree though. I don't. I
well,
love Edge,
actually,
right? I do love Edge, but I don't want to see him as a world champion because I kicked up a fuss at the idea of Goldberg becoming a world champion, and it's the same thing with Edge. He's great,
I
and I love
I
to see him
don't
back.
know.
I'd love to see him have matches. I don't want him as a world champion, no.
I
Not
get
in
your
2020,
I get what you're saying. 2021. God,
2021 even.
I know. Time flies, man. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Uh, I hate to rag on Goldberg, but Edge still got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like Edge knows what he's doing still. You know what I mean? Like
I
Goldberg
know, but
is kind
as
of
much as Edge has still got it, he's not. He can't do everything he did back then. And the thing is, as well, with Edge, he can't wrestle every week. We know this that because when he had what 2, 3 matches and then was out for nearly a year straight away. Like he's just he's great. I love Edge. And the thing is, I'm not saying that he should retire. What
no.
I mean is, I don't want to see because is more comparable to like Lesnar. Is everybody kicks up a fuss if Lesnar wins the title and then only works a few times a year?
Yeah.
That's what Edge would be doing if he won that title. He's not going to show up and wrestle on Raw every week or
Nah.
SmackDown, or especially not NXT. So I don't want to see him win a championship just to then lose it straight away to somebody, give it straight back to whoever he won it off of, or the worst option is him have it but barely wrestle.
Yeah.
And the thing is, because you can have Edge on his back for this match at Mania, where he can really put over because he looks great to be fair. So
Yeah.
somebody getting a win over him will still be a nice, good rub for anyone who does it. But you can then move him on to other things,
Mm-hmm.
like finishing off his feud with Orton, getting a win back on that, fighting, all these dream opponents that he has, like Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins, all these guys,
Uh-huh.
and he can win or lose those. But yeah, I don't want to see him as world champion, no.
Yeah. But I don't know. Him having the championship for 4 weeks is something that WWE would do.
Yeah, it's something I could see them doing. I just don't want to see
Because
it.
it reminds you of kind of like what they did with Christian. Like
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like because they had Christian as this guy. Like they like to do it every so often. Like Kofi deserved his, and they had a long run with his. But they like to do the he's been with us for X amount of years, and he's never been a world champion, and then they make him have it for a week. So like they like to do this. Like Edge has not been champion for so long, and he never lost it.
yeah.
And
Because remember they did it with Mark Henry as well, with the whole Hall of Pain thing.
I just think he managed to get himself over. Like
No, no, but that's what I mean, though, because that was the whole thing was he worked there that long, so they were like, right, okay, we'll give you something to do,
yeah,
and then he took the ball and ran with it, and fair dues to him, he had a
yeah.
great run. Say that's probably the best run of his career was the Hall of Pain stuff.
Mm.
But yeah, like I say, I mean, I
Like
don't
I
want to.
would.
I definitely don't want to see him beat Balor. He definitely won't beat. They won't have him go over Reigns. And
Well,
I'd be gutted if he beat McIntyre.
see, to be fair, from what I would say, I was going to say what I know about Edge, what I've like read about Edge and seen Edge like talking about, he's probably not above facing Balor. Like that's the kind of
Yeah,
shit that he sounds to me like he like would maybe like put across to Vince. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like oh, I could win the Rumble and then you could give me Balor for the NXT, like me and Balor ripping it up. You know what I mean? That kind
Hmm.
of stuff probably excites him from what I've seen him talking, like videos and that. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
you're that kind of person. Like I've seen that he actually rejected the chance to beat Undertaker's streak and stuff like that.
yeah,
He just flat out was like, nah, I'm not the guy to do that. Like I don't kill that
yeah.
streak. You know what I mean? So he's kind of like he kind of likes doing what's sort of best for business, being very Stephanie McMahon
Um,
there.
no, I know. You're right, and that's the thing. Like he is very selfless when it comes to stuff like that. Do you know one thing I saw though, and I thought I'd be okay with that, and only if they do this would I be okay with it. But I saw somebody say on Twitter that he should beat Roman for the Universal title, and then change it back to the World Heavyweight Championship, like bring back the big gold belt.
The one he never lost.
I'd be fine with that. I'd be totally cool with that. That would be fine with me. If they did that and then had Roman win it back, then yeah, I'd be fine with that. because I hate that Universal Championship, and I really miss the big gold belt because it's one of my favorite belts.
I don't know why. I don't even like the name of the championship. I even like the Universal.
No,
Uh,
I know, but because I don't know if they did it because, like, oh, the WWE
it's like
Championship, that's the
yeah,
World Championship, but it's not. That's the WWE Championship, and you retired the World Heavyweight Championship
yeah.
because they went through that weird phase where they unified the belts, and
Yeah.
then it was the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, then it was the WWE World Championship, and now it's just the WWE Championship. And it's like, it's so pedantic and so dumb. It's like, just bring back a pretty belt. And
I
I'd
know.
even take the spinner belt over that blue monstrosity.
I don't know. I'm quite. I don't know. Is it quite old school? I'm kind of. I only really like the black strap or
Yeah, I know. See the TNT Championship over in AEW.
yeah.
See, since they put the black strap on it, it looks phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
It looks fantastic
Mm-hmm.
with that
Mm-hmm.
black strap on it, and it suits Darby Allin really well. But um,
Yeah.
we've got way off topic.
Yeah. We're
Elimination
off.
Chamber. So
Elimination. Yeah, we were talking Edge, and we decided that he should challenge Reigns. We've covered all this with Edge. Edge is done. Let's go
the thing
Elimination
is,
Chamber.
I want to move on to Elimination Chamber
Yeah.
because there's something I want to say, and I've
Oh.
said it before on the podcast,
Oh.
and I will say it again. They should not do themed pay-per-views because unless every match on that card is an Elimination Chamber match, it's not an Elimination Chamber
And
pay-per-view.
this here, my good friend, is where I disagreed with you on said podcast, and I said this is the only one that should have a title.
Yeah,
This
it
is it.
pisses me off.
No, now TLC I agree with and all that sort of stuff. You should just come out one day. I used to love when like Teddy Long would come out and be like, "Hey, player, it's a TLC match." And you're like, "Oh my god, it's a TLC match!"
You
Like,
and your Teddy Long impressions, honestly. You just love breaking out the old Teddy Long
oh
impression.
yeah.
Holla, holla.
You know what I mean? But Elimination Chamber, it needs its own pay-per-view. I'm sorry, bro.
No, right. So if you remember though, what I did say about that when you brought up that point is I'm okay with there being like a set time for the elimination chamber because yeah, you're right. It does make sense to have a specific time of the year that you do the elimination chamber match. That's fine because it's like the Rumble or like Money in the Bank because it's a multi-man match. You don't need to have like a rivalry to build up to an elimination chamber. So that's fine. I get that, right? But don't have an elimination chamber pay per view and there's only two chamber matches. Why? What's the point in doing that? Have every match be a chamber match. Like, have every title defended in the elimination chamber. Because I want to see. I don't like the tag team ones, right? I'm just not a fan. There's just too much going on. There's too many people, especially when you
Yeah.
start putting in like the 3-man teams and
But
stuff.
see
I
what
don't
you're
like
saying.
that.
Like I would quite like a US title and an intercontinental title chamber match, right? I'm on it with you.
Even a 24/7 title?
Oh my
Nah,
god,
that'd be terrible.
it's terrible. I scratch that idea, but I no actually right. Okay, but what you're saying then is that the theme should be there, but it's missing some matches, right?
Yeah. So, because the thing is, I'm just thinking back to like last year's Elimination Chamber, right? Where um you had Aleister Black versus AJ Styles, which was just a normal one-on-one match. I think it was, or maybe like a no DQ or something, maybe. Um, and then you had a hold on. I'll pull it up. Bear
Pull up.
with me a moment. I'll pull up the card for last year's elimination. Oh, you had the women's one where Shayna Baszler ran through everybody.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
amazing, right? But then you had the Viking Raiders versus Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. You had Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. You had Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo for the US title in just a normal one-on-one match. And then you had the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, where the Miz and Morrison won. That was the Elimination Chamber. So that was one. And then you had the 3-on-1 handicap match for the Intercontinental title, which you've got 4 participants. You just find 2 more guys and you've got an Elimination Chamber match. Like, that was completely fucking pointless.
Oh,
And you
he's
had
going on.
you had the Raw Women's Championship Elimination Chamber. So the 2 world titles weren't even on the card last year. Is that right? That can't be right. Neither world title defended in the.
Well, I was going to say, is that where Brock Lesnar was champ? Was he champ last year?
He was WWE champ. Who was Universal champ though?
Because I thought obviously it's Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar doesn't do Elimination Chamber, so that explains that.
Oh, it's because Goldberg. It's because fucking Goldberg was world champion. He was the WWE champion. No, Universal even. Goldberg was Universal champion because Elimination Chamber last year was just after Super Showdown.
Hmm.
So Goldberg was Universal champ and Lesnar was WWE champ, and neither one of them were on the card for Elimination Chamber last year.
Right.
That's why they didn't do it.
I'm
want to
sorry.
see the all 4 world titles and the 2 mid card titles. I don't need the tag teams, but the 4 main titles and the 2 undercards, get them in Elimination Chamber matches. Because the thing is, they're so chaotic, and there's that many people in like an Elimination Chamber match that they're not going to go stale. You're not going to get the same spots over and over again. There's so much you can do, so just do it.
Well, I just want the 2 world titles and the 2 mid card titles. I don't really, not really too bothered about the tag team one, to be
No, I
honest.
mean the women's. When I was
And
saying the 4,
and the women's as well.
2 men, the 2 men, and the 2 women's world titles.
Mm. Oh yeah. Just the world titles, the mid cards as well. Actually, yeah.
And something that they did as well before, it was they did it with the women's one with Shayna Baszler. They should not have one elimination chamber match be for the title and then another elimination chamber match be for an opportunity at the title. Because then that's you just actively telling me this one's more important. Because they're going to go through all that, not for the title, just for a chance at it. But then
Well,
this one, they'll go through it and they can just have the title.
that's the thing. After you told me about last year's elimination chamber, I got annoyed about it. I remember back.
Because remember, they did the whole thing where Daniel Bryan defended the WWE Championship in the chamber, but then the
Brought
other
up it.
one was Roman Reigns won so that he could face Lesnar.
Mhm.
I think it was.
Yeah, like Lesnar's too good for the chamber. You've just got to fight in the chamber to get to Lesnar. Like, it's weird.
It's dumb. Just put all the world champions and both the mid card champions in the chamber match. See, especially the Intercontinental, actually. The Intercontinental chamber match this year, if they did it, would be great because they've got Sami Zayn, Apollo Crews, and then you've got like Cesaro, who's on fire just now. You've
Big E,
got
obviously.
Big E. I'd be happy with Daniel Bryan in there.
Or
Uh,
like a Jeff Hardy or something if you wanted to. You know what I mean?
Jeff Hardy. Yep. Oh no, is he not on Raw now
Is
with
he in
Matt
Raw
Riddle?
now? Is he?
He's on Raw with Matt Riddle because they're the Hardy
Oh,
Bros.
the Hardy. Yeah, because I've heard Matt Hardy talk about this as well, and he
Yeah.
was basically saying like Vince, it's just not going to happen. It's like fake Diesel. uh,
That's why I said I remember saying to Katie though I was surprised that when they changed Matt Riddle's name to just Riddle that they didn't take away the Riddle so that it was Matt and Jeff Hardy
yeah.
because that would have been a very WWE thing to do.
Oh yeah, Matt and Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Bros. Oh
Like
my
no, it's not Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy. It's Matt and Jeff Hardy.
god.
You need to have the pause. The pause is key. um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think Elimination Chamber though, I don't think we'll see any title changes.
Um.
Uh,
uh, I
if we're
no.
if we're being realistic, I don't. I think as much as I would like to see all of them in an Elimination Chamber, I know that's not going to happen. But I think McIntyre and Sheamus, they'll have their match at Elimination Chamber. I think Roman will probably be in a chamber match. Um, I don't know. I think he'll be in the chamber match, but I think they'll do something where he's like they'll make sure he's the last guy in,
Aye.
and they'll
Well,
just come in and spear folk out their boots and win it.
I think they're going to make sure Jey Uso is in the chamber match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to have that. They might even bring in a second Uso. Like I don't even know how long he's got left till he's back. You know what I mean? Because we're surely close to the second Uso coming back. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, must be, must be.
So like I'm thinking any time around about now that he's going to end up coming back and being doing something. You know what I mean? Um, I want to see both the titles in the chamber. You're right. Uh, but I hope they just don't like have like no chamber matches with it, like or like do like as you said, like maybe like leave like Roman Reigns out of the chamber and you fight to get to Reigns, or you. I just hope
Mhm.
they don't do that.
I think they'll do the Raw Women's Championship in a chamber because I think that will be how we see Charlotte and Lacey Evans finish their feud because I think both of them will be in it
Yeah.
and they can battle it out. Charlotte definitively beats Lacey and that's their sort of feud over.
Well, that's the
Hopefully.
thing. It's quite easy to like with that one. It's quite easy to actually carry that one over because it's a chamber. It's multi woman match,
Yeah.
and then you could have anything happen, and then there you could have Charlotte lose because of it. You know what I mean? And then end up doing Fastlane. You know what I mean?
Plus, it'd be they could use it as well to finally break up Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, because if they
Mm-hmm.
put both of them in there
Mm-hmm.
and then they start fighting, that could be how they could finally break up that stupid tag team that
I
they've
know it
got.
as a silly tag team. I did like the women's rumble though. Going back to that quickly, that when Nia Jax is it Tamina that came out.
Oh yeah,
It's just
that
like
was so
we're
cool
family.
seeing Tamina. Yeah, Tamina's great. I like Tamina.
Wasn't used enough, but good when she was there.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, I'm massively underrated Tamina.
mhm,
Um, But no, I could see them doing that. I hope they break up that tag team
yeah.
and fire Nia Jax. Um, but I want to see Shayna Baszler go one on one with some of these women that she's fighting in tag team matches. I need right Shayna Baszler versus Charlotte Flair. I need to see Shayna Baszler versus Asuka in a one on one and just have her go on an absolute tear. Whenever Becky Lynch comes back, I need that again, and I need Shayna to demolish her, and I mean run straight fucking through her. Like she comes back, they could even, if they want to protect Becky, they could do the whole she's got ring rust because she's been away being a mum. Have her come back and get ran through by Shayna. Because the thing is, with Shayna Baszler, she only works if you make her that badass shit kicker. Like, she doesn't work as this, like, odd couple tag team pairing and all
Yeah,
that, all that stuff. It just doesn't work. Because she can't do all that, but then still be the same badass in the ring. Because it's not believable. You need to have her just run through everybody and not care, not give a shit about who she
yeah.
does it to or anything, just run through them. But Yeah, I want to see Shayna do well again in the Elimination Chamber, especially because she'll have something to prove after last year when she ran through everybody. You know,
I'd quite
she's
like to see Rhea Ripley in an elimination chamber.
yeah, it'd be cool to see her, but then if it doesn't work for my plan, just because if I want to see Shayna run through people, and I don't want Ripley to get hurt by that. But I reckon they're going to move Ripley over to SmackDown so that she can feud with Bianca after Bianca beats Sasha.
Mm,
Because I
yeah,
think they're planning on calling Ripley up, aren't they?
they should be. You know what I
I
mean?
reckon
Like,
after that Rumble performance and being on Mania last year, she must be due moving up.
well,
Like they
like
must
I
be.
don't even know why she was still in NXT. I don't know if it was choice or whatever, because a lot of people were saying that certain wrestlers were choosing to stay, like Johnny Gargano and Ciampa and that. But
Yeah. Oh, Gargano and Ciampa will never leave NXT. I don't think.
well, no,
I think
because
now,
they're not even being booked as strongly anymore. It's kind of like they're like, if you don't want to come up, then
yeah.
but
I Champa maybe because I could see Champa have some decent feuds with some of the guys in the main roster, but Gargano I don't think will leave NXT. I think he's happy where he is. I don't see him moving up, and I don't see where he would really fit into either Raw or SmackDown.
I don't know.
He's just
They brought him up in the Royal Rumble, funnily enough, and they kind of seen that too. That I think they kind of like, we don't know what to do with you. Like, just go back to NXT. Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
because they did the whole sort of trial run thing as well when they brought Gargano and Champa, and they said, "Oh, this is them. We're bringing them up," and then they were there for like 2 weeks and went back.
Yeah, they had like maybe like one match and a backstage interview, and like,
Yeah,
it's
because that was
just
when they were like teaming together again, like DIY had
yeah,
reformed, and I think I think Champa was NXT champion and Gargano was North American champion.
yeah. That was when they were doing that thing. Yeah.
And they brought them up and then just sent them straight back down. Like, nah, actually, you're better there.
Oh, I know, it's crazy. I think at Elimination Chamber, you're right. The world title and the universal title will not change hands at all. Like I can't like.
Yeah,
In fact, it's not that I can't see it. I won't accept anybody else in Mania. Like you know what I mean? It's got to be
no.
these two guys. But for the mid card titles might change. They might. There's a
I
possibility.
could see the I could see the US title. I don't think they're going to take the Intercontinental off of Big E yet. I think they'll
No.
have him at the very least go to Mania with it. But I could see them taking the US title off of Bobby Lashley and maybe even putting on like Matt Riddle or something.
Well, that's the thing. You like Big E, they might take it off him because New Day at Mania would be quite pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, that would be cool. I think though, because the Matt Riddle keeps talking about like wanting to do a fight pit with Bobby Lashley on Raw, and I think that could be a good way to set that up. Is if Matt Riddle beats Bobby Lashley in the Elimination Chamber, but then Bobby Lashley's like, "Oh well, you had all these other guys. You locked me and you in a cage, and I'd beat you up." And
Yeah.
then they could be like, "Right, okay, well we'll do the fight pit, you and me in a cage, and I'll kick your ass."
Hey.
Um, so I could see them doing that. I quite like that actually because Matt Riddle's great in those sort of matches, like the cage matches and stuff like that. He knows how to work them really well.
Yeah.
And I think he'd be really entertaining in a an elimination chamber. Could see him doing some crazy spots.
Yeah. Yeah. I can as well actually. I would I would actually like to see him win it. To be honest, I want to see him maybe get some gold. As much as
Yeah.
I'm liking Lashley in the Hurt Business and that, I could. It's not going to actually hurt him too much. I think Lashley losing it, he could probably move on to bigger and better things after that and give Riddle some gold.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Riddle kind of needs it just now. Because
Mhm.
I think they're starting to realize that they don't know what to do with them. Um,
Well,
and
that's what I was saying in the last episode. Like Vince McMahon's actually came out and was like, "You're really popular, but I don't know why you're popular. Like
yeah,
I don't get it." And so they know they have to push him, but they don't know what's happening.
Yeah. See, I think the thing with Riddle though as well, because I know that there was a lot of rumours recently about him leaving. People were talking about him leaving and maybe going to AEW. So I think they might throw him the sort of honeypot deal of, well, we'll give you the US title if you stay. um, so I reckon we'll probably see Riddle as US champ pretty soon. If not at Elimination Chamber, I think at the very latest by Mania he'll be US champ.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's
could
the
you
thing though.
imagine they did a fight pit at Mania?
Oh, to be fair, I was quite a fan of that on Raw. Was it Underground or something? It was called.
Oh, the Raw Underground, really? You were
I
a
liked
fan
it.
of
I
that?
liked the idea. It was a good idea. They just fucked it up.
No, but right, okay.
You
I'll
could.
pose this question. No, I'll pose this question to you then, right? Because this is something that I saw on Twitter after the Raw Underground thing, right?
Right,
So pretend that I've never watched wrestling, right?
right.
Just pretend that I've never seen anything to do with wrestling. Try and explain to me what Raw Underground is and how it's different from the main show.
Look at you, your smug face. He's like, and go on, tell me.
Go on. So I'll tell you how I tried to explain it when I saw
Mhm.
this question and I was thinking
Okay.
about it, right? So
Mhm.
Raw Underground is fake fighting, but it's not the fake fighting that's like the other fake fighting that's on the main show. This is fake fighting that they're pretending is real fighting with a lot of camera cuts and for some reason two women dancing on a bar and no ring ropes.
I know, right? Of
So
course,
instead of pretending to jump off the top rope and legitimately pin your opponent, they instead pretend to lock in a legitimate guillotine choke and submit their opponent. it's, it's so dumb. It just didn't work. I actually would have preferred it if they'd done like a sort of brawl for all thing where they weren't actually fighting.
yeah.
They actually just started doing real fights and just to see who'd win. I'd love that, but
Ah,
nah. The camera cuts were gave me a headache. Felt dizzy watching it, and then
uh,
it ended up just getting taken over by the Hurt Business. Who just kept coming in and beating everybody up.
yeah. That's how they wrote it off. But like, just when I seen it, I was just like, oh, like a underground fighting league,
It
like,
was interesting.
I like
Don't
that's
get me wrong.
like that's what I
It
mean.
was an
Like,
interesting idea, but the execution was terrible.
that's what I mean. Like when I heard about it and I seen it at first, and I seen Braun Strowman, and he was just smashing people. Like, I was like, what's this? Like
But
different?
then again, it was so strange though with the whole Braun Strowman thing because they like totally rewrote his character to appear on that. Because up until he showed up to Raw Underground looking for a fight, he was in the whole thing with the Fiend and he was a bit mental and there was all that stuff going on. And then all of a sudden he was in like cargo trousers and trying to fight Dabba-Kato.
I know who only. Honestly, I didn't know who he was until that. It was like they just like brought him in for that. Like,
Yeah, no, because it looked like they were going to build him up to actually do something, and then they just didn't.
he was just the Raw Underground guy that was fighting Braun Strowman.
What they should have done was had Retribution debut in Raw Underground and come in and kick the shit out of everybody, including Shane McMahon, because I hate him.
But he's the best in the
Shane McMahon was actually the
world.
worst thing about Raw Underground. He did man nothing, and the rules. Oh, don't even right. The rules as well. The rules made no sense. He would just randomly be like, "All right, that's it, you win," and it's like, "What do you mean he wins? The guy's still standing up. What do you mean he wins?
I
Like the
know.
guy's not even went down. Like, have you ever even watched a fight?"
So there's a thought though. Speaking about the Elimination Chamber, Braun Strowman in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. Oh, Braun Strowman should have won. See the one that Roman Reigns won? Braun Strowman should have won that. 'Cause he ran through everybody. He
Well,
pinned Seth Rollins.
I'm sorry, right? But I like. Is it fair to say that the whole of Braun Strowman's career has been Braun Strowman should have won that, but Roman Reigns won it? Has that been his
Yeah.
career?
Oh yeah. Braun Strowman really was like right place, wrong time.
Oh my
Like, 'cause
God.
he was the perfect star. Everybody loved him. He was amazing, and but they just at the time they were so focused on pushing
Yeah, but
Roman that you just get pushed to the
even
wayside.
still, what frustrates me is I know Roman Reigns is good, but the only reason that Braun Strowman won the world title was because Roman Reigns like was off, unfortunately.
Yeah,
You know,
literally.
I was like, so you're telling me if he was still here, Braun Strowman would still never have had a world title? Is that what you're telling me?
Pretty much, yeah.
And
I would highly doubt that he would have if Roman
exactly,
had been there.
and and that sickens me. You know, that I'm like that sickens me because he deserves better than Braun Strowman. And if he's in the elimination chamber, I'll be buzzed. Um, be quite be
I
quite
know.
good. Be quite good if he won it, but Reigns is gonna get him again.
Yeah, probably.
He's gonna get jumped by an Uso.
Yeah, I know. Um, oh no, isn't Braun on Raw as well now?
Oh, he's Raw, isn't he?
Yeah, he's on Raw now, I'm sure. Well, yeah, because he was in Raw Underground.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, he got moved to Raw
Wow.
because that was how they separated him
Yes,
from the whole Fiend thing.
I
Was
know.
they shifted him to Raw?
I, I would take an Edge Braun Strowman WrestleMania.
Oh, don't even. Oh, Jesus. But no, so Elimination Chamber. I think we'll see some decent matches. It annoys me that there isn't more chamber matches on the card because there should be every match should be a chamber match on it. But after that, we move swiftly on to Fastlane, which is March 20 something. I think 21st actually. I think it's March 21st as well. Um,
Yeah, it's the 21st and the 21st, and then Mania is on the 10th of April.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, March 21st is the Sunday, so yeah, it will be.
Mhm.
Um, Fastlane I'm more excited for when if we're talking Road to WrestleMania, Fastlane I'm more excited for
I don't know.
because that's the
Fastlane.
final pay-per-view before Mania, so they'll build everything there. That'll be where we get our full card come into place.
Well, they are this time, and this time it's exciting. But usually we know all this stuff by now, and Fastlane is a snooze fest. But
Yeah,
so, so maybe this time they've made Fastlane exciting because I don't really.
yeah.
Because a lot of the times, like you're just like, well, we know who we're getting at Mania, and he's just wrestling this match, but there's no way he's going to lose it. And like, it just everybody, and it just happens exactly how you know it's going to happen, and then it's
Mhm.
just Mania.
Well,
But
see, because they didn't have a fast lane last year. Oh, I meant to say this to you actually, because you and I had this conversation, and it turned out we were both right and both wrong. So when you were saying that you thought that Elimination Chamber was the final pay per view before Mania,
yeah,
it was last year because they did Super Showdown in February instead of
uh,
Elimination Chamber, and then they did the Chamber in March.
and just cut
But
it Fastlane altogether.
they cut out Fastlane because they did the Saudi show.
Right.
But this year they're going back to the way they did do it, where it's Rumble, Elimination Chamber, Fastlane, Mania.
Yeah.
Um, so I do apologise because I was fairly smug, if I remember, when
Yeah.
I realised I was right.
Yeah.
But
That's the
technically you
thing
were
though.
right too.
Technically, but yeah, but like I knew obviously Fastlane was a pay-per-view, but I didn't actually know we didn't have it last year. I've never even noticed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Fastlane. There's been good matches on Fastlane because
Oh no, I'm not saying I'm not
we
saying the
got
match quality is bad, but just the storytelling side of things. You know the
mhm,
ending. Like a lot of them.
yeah. Yeah, because I remember they had the Roman Reigns Daniel Bryan match at Fastlane. Remember when Roman won the Rumble and everybody wanted it to be Bryan? They did they two at Fastlane for the Rumble like benefits.
They did,
Um,
yeah, but you knew that Brian was going to lose anyway.
yeah, you knew it was just oh well, you wanted him in the Rumble, he wasn't in it, so we'll have him in this match, but we're pushing Roman.
We're going to go with A, okay? Plan A is what we're going with. But yeah, so but this just this year, the way it's shaping up, you're kind of like Fastlane might be a bit more exciting this year.
Yeah, I'm excited for Fastlane now. Just to sort of see what they set up, because it's strange though, because all the things I thought were going to happen at Mania
Hmm.
a couple like even just a month ago, all of it's changed. Because I thought that, right. So originally I thought Sheamus and McIntyre was going to be at Mania. They're not doing that. I thought that they were going to do Rock and Reigns, but I reckon if they were going to, we would have seen The Rock by now. So they're not doing that. Um, I definitely didn't think Edge was going to win the Royal Rumble. I thought he was going to be in it. I didn't think he was going to win it.
Yeah, I thought he was
Because I
going to have a
mean,
good showing, but I didn't think. And especially when I seen him at one, I was like, nah, he's gonna come to the end, but he's not gonna win it. Um,
Mhm. Well, especially, I mean, even if you go back and listen to the last episode we did with the Rumble predictions, like we never even discussed the possibility of Edge winning it.
I know.
To be fair, we did record that before he was announced as being in the match, so
Yeah,
we were sort of just speculating on whether he'd be there
yeah,
or not. But none of
um,
us even suggested that he was going to win it. I didn't think he was.
yeah, because we had him as a pick as a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble, but like
Yeah.
surprise entrants never usually win it unless you're John Cena. But you know what I mean.
God, I was wrong about CM Punk again.
Ah,
Another year, another failed Punk prediction. Uh,
there's always next year. um,
um, but no, it's yeah, like I really everything I thought I was going to see at Mania isn't going to happen now. So I'm a bit kind of like, well, what are they going to do then? Because the thing is, if you have Edge versus Reigns, who's McIntyre going to fight? Because if they're getting the Sheamus storyline done now, who's he going to fight after Sheamus? And
mm,
don't tell me they're going to put the title on Sheamus, because there's no way.
well, the thing is, though, the thing is, what I would maybe say is that the Rock is a busy guy, so they might not have him on telly at the moment because there's a lot of time that he needs to be on TV cutting promos and talking trash and stuff. You know what I mean? So you could have him just popping up like closer to Fastlane time. You know what I mean? Um,
Plus, I suppose that could explain why they're dragging out the whole Kevin Owens feud, so
so
that Reigns has got something to do until The Rock's ready.
yeah, because you could have him in an elimination chamber match, and then I don't know, have somebody that was maybe close to beating him in the chamber do it fast lane, and the Rock appears. You know what I mean? Don't know.
Mhm. Because I mean they've got the perfect story with The Rock just now with the whole head of the
Yeah,
table thing,
as
but
soon as
they need to do that as soon as possible.
yeah, exactly, because I know that like everybody's saying like we need the fans to be there, and that would be great. But the timing with stories is not there.
Yeah,
Like it's just
aye, and I'd rather see them do it without fans than not see them do it at all.
that's true because if you don't do it right now, then the timing's going to be off, and Reigns' character is going to be different by then. Like I don't mean like completely different, but it's just not going to be at that stage where you're like, It's time for the Rock to come in." It's just not.
Mhm. I could see them doing it at SummerSlam, and I mean I said this on the Rumble episode as well. Like I could see them if they desperately want fans there, which I do understand that.
Mhm.
I could see them maybe doing it at SummerSlam, but any later than that, there's too much time went by. You're not going to be able to do it, and it's not. You can still do it, but it's not going to be the same. Like.
No, I know what you're saying. I
And
agree, but
I would prefer they just did it at Mania, to be honest.
mm and the thing is, like, I don't know, because The Rock said that he's almost retired. Like he said that I think I'm retired is what I think he said, and
Hmm.
like he doesn't sound like a guy that would settle for anything less than Mania. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
because it sounds like it's like he's nearly like done. You know what I mean? So at that stage, it's like Mania or nothing really. You're like, I'm done, or if you've got a Mania match for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Aye, because the only matches he's had in the past few years have either been at Mania or the one at the Royal Rumble, but that was because he won the WWE title against CM Punk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then he had a couple on Raw roundabout Mania time because I'm sure he got took out by the Shield as well at one point. So
Yeah.
um, but whenever he appears on Raw, it's always in and about Mania time. Um,
Mhm.
so that's the thing. Like we're predicting these things might not happen, but there is still time. We've still got all the way up until April. So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
Um,
it is that each like bit of time it passes, you kind of like think, we're not gonna get it. But you're right. If he's not coming, who's the feud? Like
no, that's
Edge
it.
is obviously one, but like I don't know who you would have face Drew unless you want to maybe I don't know bring back Brock Lesnar.
Oh, I don't want to. I'd actually be okay with just Lesnar Goldberg. Like
I don't.
throw that on, or like
Mhm.
Lesnar Strowman or something. Just put Lesnar in an exhibition match. You don't need him in a title match because it's Lesnar. Lesnar's his own thing. It's like it's not dissimilar to the Undertaker streak at Mania. It's
I
like
know.
challenging Brock Lesnar is a big enough deal because he's Brock Lesnar. Everybody should want to be the guy that beat Brock Lesnar. Even though
Yeah,
there's been people that done it, it's still a big deal.
yeah,
Because you still had people challenging The Undertaker after Lesnar beat the streak because it's The Undertaker and it's WrestleMania.
yeah.
So I'd be fine with them doing just like an exhibition match, but
Yeah. Well, as in terms of Drew McIntyre, actually, I just had a thought. Is I had a thought. Is Rollins on Raw or SmackDown at the moment? Because I can never keep up with this deal.
well, he's not back. He was only in the Rumble. He's not officially back, but he's on SmackDown, I think.
Is he on SmackDown at the moment? Is that? Oh man, like they need him in the title picture because obviously I know why he took time off, but like his Rey Mysterio Dominic thing went on too long. I need to see him. Oh, I've had a.
If they don't do Rock, Roman Rollins at
Oh,
Mania, one on one.
but Roman's the bad guy and Seth is the good guy. That is genius. Just
Book it, Vince.
get it booked.
Oh, that's what they're going to do.
Oh,
That's what they're going to.
see that last
That's the
episode.
plan B if they don't do Rock, isn't they?
See that last episode when we were talking about the chills, like like the wee
Yeah.
tingle. That was it. That was
I
it.
guarantee you, if they don't get Rock this year, it will be Reigns Rollins.
Oh,
I
that
bet you they do it.
that would be amazing. And then you've got
Where
Edge
Reigns is
and
the heel.
yeah, and Rollins is the good guy. Oh,
Plus, the thing is, right? It works as well. It works for Reigns because Reigns has never beat Rollins. I don't think, if I'm not
no, because
mistaken,
I think
Reigns has never beat him
yeah, I think Rollins
because
always gets one over on him. Yeah.
yeah, there's the many multi-man matches that they've had, all of which Rollins has managed to sneak the win, or Dean Ambrose won back when he was still there, and then I think they only had one-on-one match at Money in the Bank, and Rollins won it. Rollins countered the spear into the pedigree, won, and then Dean Ambrose cashed in because that was the night that all three members of the Shield had the world title in the one night. I don't think Roman's ever beat him. That's what they're going to do, isn't it? Roman. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. That'll be main event. I've been waiting. This is what I was about to move on to because I was about to say, oh, what do you reckon the main event will be? That'll be the main event of WrestleMania. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins 1-on-1 for the Universal title.
You know,
With Paul Heyman in Roman Reigns' corner.
oh,
Yes.
man,
And the Monday Night Messiah, the head of the
I,
table versus the Messiah.
I know, and
Yes.
Heyman's there, and both of them beat Lesnar, and oh my god.
Uh, Triple threat with Lesnar in it. Ah, a callback, a callback to all those years ago where Rollins did the heist of the century. Have throw Lesnar in there, have the added dynamic with Heyman being there, not knowing where to look, and
Oh
have
man,
Rollins.
oh man,
And the two men that Roman could never ever beat clean. The two men that Roman they always beat him no matter how good he was. They always got one over on him, and Roman beats both of them. Yeah, book it, Vince.
well, right, well that's the thing. I just remembered about Rollins on the spot about 2 seconds ago, and then just I was like, whoa, I was like Rollins in Mania.
Listen, this is why we're the how they should have. This is why we're the shoot the work guys. This is why we're the how they should have done things.
Yeah,
Because now we're going to be more productive. Because the looking at the past and saying what we would have done differently. You know what? Hindsight's 2020.
mhm.
Anyone can do that. But you and I have a gift, and we need to share it.
I
So
know,
we're gonna start giving you
I
easy
know,
booking decisions to make, Vince. You just
exactly.
need to listen to them and take our advice. We
I
know
know.
these things.
I know, yeah, because before we were the shoulda, woulda, coulda guys, but now, now we're the future. Like this is how you should
Well,
do it right
we
now.
were the
I,
woulda coulda. Now we're the shoulda.
yeah, yeah.
We should change it to shoulda the work.
Oh my goodness, what is happening?
Oh, I don't know.
um,
I just became you for a second. That was a you level joke there.
it was, it was. Oh man, comes in here taking my spots. Oh,
Just call me Roman Reigns.
but yeah, that is the main event, and then get Edge and
Yeah.
McIntyre, and I want Drew to kick him in the face, but I know he's gonna get speared.
Oh, I know. Cause plus, I would be so nervous, right, with Edge's neck if they did the spot where Edge goes for a spear, Drew claymores him, just that snap back of the neck.
Then
'Cause you know they would do it. You know they would. They
Edge would
would.
do it for the pop man. He'd be like, "Oh, this will be amazing. They'll love this."
They'll never walk again. Um,
That was the end of Edge. Yep. But yeah, um,
uh,
Fastlane as well. I'm trying to think of like other people. Like I know, like I was mentioning before the podcast, like Randy Orton. Like I want them to do something with him. He deserves something.
yeah, I want them to bring Alistair Black back. He's just phenomenal.
Hmm.
He should be like. Do you know what he should be doing? Feuding with the Fiend. Him and the Fiend would have a great feud after
Oh,
he's finished with
in
Orton.
fact, actually, hang on a minute. I'm going to rewind just for a little minute. Elimination Chamber. We didn't even mention the Fiend. He could be doing
Hmm.
some spooky business in the Elimination Chamber.
I don't think we'll see the Fiend now till Mania. I
You
think they'll
reckon?
build it. I reckon they're going to do a Firefly Funhouse with Orton because they did Cena last year. I think Orton will do it next.
Mm-hmm.
But do you know the other one I'd be happy with if they didn't do Orton? If they wanted to have Orton do other things, they could get the Fiend and him finished before Mania and do a Firefly Funhouse with Goldberg. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be
I think
cool.
Orton's probably got the more interesting story to tell. Like
Well,
with
yeah,
the whole thing they did with Cena, like Orton's had a much longer the career than Goldberg has, technically, because
yeah.
Goldberg wasn't around for a very long time. So you've got years and years of Orton's whole history and the amount of stuff that guy's done in his career. I think they could do a lot of really interesting stuff with Orton, but
Yeah.
it'd be cool to see Goldberg as well.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Goldberg might look a lot better in a cinematic match. Like, do you know how like what they did with the Undertaker? No disrespect to the Undertaker, but he looked damn good in that match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I will say this: if Goldberg isn't in the Firefly Funhouse with the Fiend, I don't want to see him at all. Then I don't want him in a match because he's going to go over. If they put him in a match with somebody, he's going to go over, and I don't want him going over MD because he just shouldn't be wrestling. He's like, I get the whole coming back and showing your son you can still go, and the whole Lesnar thing. It was different with Lesnar because Lesnar was already a part-time champion anyway.
Hmm.
So having Goldberg into the
Hmm.
feud, it sucked that they took it off of Kevin Owens, but I can see why. But
Yeah.
that's him. He had his moment now. He definitely shouldn't have beat the Fiend the first time,
No.
and he shouldn't be going over MD now.
No. Well, the Lesnar feud was different because it was him just coming back for the first time, and
Yeah.
and it was a shock because of how they booked it because they made it so short and Lesnar got absolutely annihilated and oh my god. But
Mhm.
now he comes back and because that happened, you're like, oh, and now he's facing Ziggler, so that's going to be a 5 minute match. You know what's going to happen, and you're just not.
Yeah, I was just going to mention the Ziggler match. They shouldn't have ever done that because that was just they just fed Ziggler to him, and it never led to anything. Ziggler never got anything from it. Goldberg certainly never got anything from it. Him having another run through as some guy, it was just pointless, and all it did was hurt Ziggler. Because Ziggler was actually doing all right until then. He was
Mm.
quite interesting because that was when he was going through his whole like I don't care what you think about me, and he was doing like his impersonations and all that stuff. He was interesting, and plus he had the whole feud with Kofi, which was really really great. And then they just fed him to Goldberg for no reason, and then he did nothing. Um, Tell me this: what do you think we'll see tag team wise for the tag division at Mania?
Tag team wise, well, what I was going to say was that, well, I think I'd mentioned this as well. I'd already mentioned this. If you take Big E out the Intercontinental picture in one of the two pay per views coming up, then you could see a full New Day reunion at some point.
Mm,
Because they quite like bringing out New Day in WrestleMania. They had them as the hosts one year, you know what I mean?
they
But
do, yeah.
but the thing is, it's maybe different because again, no crowd. They might start looking at things differently. Um,
See, personally, I think we're going to see Undisputed Era coming up soon, and I think they will go to SmackDown because you've got Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, the SmackDown Tag Champs at the moment.
yeah,
I think Undisputed Era could maybe come up, beat them for the titles at Mania, and then I think they'll hold them to Survivor Series where we can see the New Day versus the Undisputed Era. That would be pretty cool.
yeah. No, I agree. I was listening there. Sorry about that.
No,
No,
you're right.
I agree. We could get the Undisputed Era. Undisputed Era are I don't know, Undisputed Era are in the same bracket as Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano, that they've been there so long that I don't know if it's ever going to happen. It's like at that point,
No, I
it's
know.
it's just like I was like, oh, what else could you possibly do with the Undisputed Era? And then they bring out Pat McAfee and three random guys, sorry.
Well,
The-
not random guys. Only Lorcan, Danny Burch, and
they,
Pete
they're a
Dunne.
they're a tag team, but like and then we've got Pete Dunne there, and suddenly they're buddies with Pat McAfee, just so that we can keep the Undisputed Era in for War Games. But
Yeah.
I'm just like,
I don't know. Like, I think the problem with Undisputed Era now is that now that they've done that, because they've had their war games, they've finished the feud, because that's Pat McAfee's been beat twice now. He get
mhm,
beat by Adam Cole 1-on-1, and he get beat in the war games match. Pete Dunne's moved on. He's away fighting Finn Balor.
yep.
Only Lorcan and Danny Burch have moved on.
Are they back
So
to
I
NXT UK or are they in normal NXT? I can't.
no, they're NXT tag
NXT.
champs.
Oh, so excuse me.
Uh,
Oh
they,
dear.
they beat Breezango.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like because I don't think the Undisputed Era need to get the any of the NXT titles again because they've all held it. They did the whole. Finally gave them the whole thing where all of them were gold.
Yep, I was gonna
Um,
say they've done that, and like,
so I don't think there's really much else for them to do now. So I think it's best for them just
well, yeah,
to
well, yeah, that's the thing.
head up to Raw or SmackDown, and I think they'd fit in more on SmackDown.
Well, that's the thing I was gonna say. Like, when you have them win all the titles, that tells me that they are the best. And like, and then when they lose all the titles, it tells me there's nothing left for you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was surprised that they actually had it on to War Games, to be honest.
I would love to see them do that again though, with the all gold on either Raw or SmackDown. Have Roderick Strong with either Intercontinental or US, Adam Cole with the World, and Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly with the tag team titles.
I still find it mental that these guys are meant to be in developmental, so they're meant to be developing their skills, but they're in a War Games match. That is crazy.
Yeah, Adam Cole's been wrestling for
He
years.
he has, yeah, but I'm still surprised that like you can call it developmental if you've got them doing War Games stuff. You know what I mean? These guys are
Uh,
unreal what they can do.
it's the same with Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong's been wrestling almost as long as Daniel Bryan.
Oh, yeah, no, of course.
Him and Daniel Bryan used to have mental
That's what
matches
I
in Ring of
was saying.
Honor.
That's what I was saying to you. Very early TNA. And he honestly looked like a little kid, but he was just backbreaking everybody. It was just mental.
I've said this before, right? Roderick Strong looks so cool. I just like his look. He looks like a commando, like a like an
See when he
army
was
guy,
see
like
when he was
a
AO.
yes, yeah, with the dog tags and the camel. Yeah, he just looks. He fit in really well with AOP actually. But
He kind of
even
fits the Undisputed Era.
Oh yeah, he really fits in. I think he'll be the first to leave Undisputed Era. See when they finally break them up, I reckon it'll be him and Adam Cole eventually. Because I thought they were going to do it in NXT because they made it seem like they were going to when he lost the North American title,
Yeah.
and it kind of seemed like they were going to do that. But
Yeah. They
yeah, I could see them.
and then they started teasing that O'Reilly was going to be the one that would break out. You know what I mean? It was kind of weird. So,
Yeah, see, it was weird though because with O'Reilly, with him and Balor, they never really see. It didn't seem like he was really moving away from Undisputed Era. It was more just, I'm going to do this. Because they were all like, yeah, we know he can do it. We're going to support him. We want him to win.
yeah.
Um,
I just didn't. I thought they were maybe going to get him to win it, and I didn't see Adam Cole taking that and then like splitting up.
yeah, yeah, I thought O'Reilly was going to win, but
Y-
anyway, I
Yeah,
think for the tag teams, I reckon they'll have a couple of
yeah,
semi decent matches. We'll probably get that on the pre-show, I reckon.
yeah,
I
uh,
reckon we'll see Bianca and Sasha.
yeah,
Asuka, I don't know if she'll hold the title all the way to Mania. I think Charlotte might win it at Elimination Chamber, maybe. And I think Asuka will be the challenger again, just like all those years ago when she won the Rumble. And I think Asuka will beat Charlotte and win. Um,
hmm
and she could then, she could fight Shayna, Rhea, MDLs, really.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
that's the thing. You could have. Well, I think Charlotte will be at Mania in the main event because something tells me that's just where Charlotte has to be at
mm.
Mania. But then you could have you could literally have anybody face her at Mania. To be honest, like there's lots of different people.
Do you know what I would quite like, actually? I was just thinking about it there. Is if Charlotte wins the title before Mania, have Rhea Ripley challenge her for it and win, and have Asuka challenge Io Shirai, the NXT Women's title, because they two would have a phenomenal match, and I desperately want to see them. That'd be great.
That'd be great. I
No,
kind yeah. Well, to be fair, I wouldn't mind seeing like Rhea Ripley at Mania again. To be fair, but as you can tell, big fan of Rhea Ripley. This whole
plus,
podcast, I'm
I
like,
want to see her get the win back on Charlotte.
mm,
She's a bit more ruthless, a bit more hard hitting and brutal. I want to see her. Right, okay, now I'm going to take you on.
yeah, mm-hmm.
Um, and I think Rhea should definitely win.
That's it though. Like, could you see Bianca Belair winning it Mania and Rhea Ripley maybe going to SmackDown?
It's possible, but I could also see them doing like a sort of Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit thing where Rhea wins the Raw Women's and Bianca wins the SmackDown Women's, and they two like celebrate together at
Ah,
the end
yeah,
of night one or something. Like, I don't know, I could kind of see them doing that with like the
yeah.
streamers and everything.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. At this stage, it's all speculation. Outside of this, I just I can't really think off the top of my head like anything else that I would particularly book or that's missing really. Um.
mm, no, I mean we'll probably, like you say, we'll know closer to the time, but just now they've not really set up a lot yet for Mania, so
Yeah.
it's hard to really it's hard to talk about what we want to see when we don't know anything about what we're going to see.
Yeah. I don't know
Um,
what my options are. You know what I mean? But
I reckon we'll probably do another one of our predictions for Mania because it's Mania, so we can maybe a bit close after Fastlane's been and gone. We
well,
can do
yeah.
another wee.
Well, I was thinking about that. We might do one after this. We'll see how badly this ages between now and then.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Take note. Anyone listen to this one. Take note of what our predictions are, and then in a couple of months' time, when Mania comes and goes, you can tweet us and tell us how wrong we were. Um,
mhm, mhm. Exactly, exactly. But sometimes in wrestling, what you want to see isn't always what you get. So,
very rarely.
so, so yeah. Sometimes that happens, but yeah, right now, so far it's still early doors. We're just looking towards the Elimination Chamber. We don't even know who's going to be there. They still probably got to do all these qualifier matches and stuff that they like to do, um, to get that all together. And then, like, all we know about right now is the Rumble winners, and that's it. And even then, we've now predicted that we want Edge to be Drew McIntyre because we need Rollins and Reigns because that's just what's
Yeah,
happening now.
license to print money.
Yep, take my money, Vince. Yep.
Shut up and take my money. But no, I reckon. To be fair, I don't think we'll have to wait until Fastlane for things to take shape. I think
No.
after on Elimination Chamber night, and
Mhm.
then in the weeks after that, that's when I think it will start to take shape, and Fastlane will just sort of cement in what we're going to see. Because usually as opposed to pretty much any other pay per view, the Mania card is usually announced beforehand. Like most pay per views, you've got like a couple of cemented matches until
Mhm.
like the very week before. Like even with Royal Rumble, there was only like what 3 matches confirmed the
Well,
week
yeah.
before
On our last
when we did
episode, we
our
were still predicting matches, and Edge wasn't in it yet, and it was
yeah,
still
and literally within the space of 2 shows, the full card came together. But
yeah.
usually with Mania, it's quite a bit before that you have the sort of card. You know what it's going to look like. So
That's
I reckon we'll see that sort of start to take shape between Chamber and Fastlane.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah. I just hope that it's not cemented too early and fast lane. It's still sort of, as I said, sometimes they could make it so it's just obvious and you're watching the decent match, but the knowing what's happening kind of takes away from me. So hopefully they I would like to see maybe something that you go, oh, I don't know what's going to happen
Yeah.
here. You know what I mean? Um,
Because I mean, if we knew exactly what was going to happen
oh,
and it was perfect, we wouldn't have a show.
I meant to ask you. I've got one last question before I've ran out of questions and thoughts. My last question: do you reckon that the Miz is going to make an appearance anytime between now and Mania?
I reckon maybe the Chamber. If they do a Chamber match, maybe there.
That is low even for a heel standards. Picking the bones of the chamber with the Money in the Bank.
Well, that's what happened the first Money in the Bank. Edge did that to Cena. It was
Oh
after
yeah,
Elimination Chamber.
yeah.
Vince brought out Edge, and he's like, "Yeah, he's cashing in. You've got a match with him now."
Wow. Oh,
And
and then
especially with Edge back now, they could do like the whole.
Age will be like, oh, that was what I did. Like, well,
I'll tell you what, we'll know it's going to happen if they're still in the ring when the cage gets raised. See, when the chamber actually gets raised up, if McIntyre is still sitting in that ring, the Miz is coming out.
yeah, if he's still lying down or like not moving, yeah.
Because I think they're not even like so much as teasing the possibility of him going for Reigns. It's definitely McIntyre he's cashing in on.
Yeah, well, what they did, which was funny, is like they mentioned that like before, like back in the day, they did a story with Edge and CM Punk like that. CM Punk won his second Money in the Bank, and Edge came out and was like, "I won Money in the Bank twice. Like that was my thing. Like, like two in a row." So he's done that sort of story before.
Hmm.
Um, so it's not so he could be coming out like, no, I'm the guy that comes into the elimination chamber and cashes in. That's my deal. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I kind of think the world title picture's cemented. So I think if I do see him, I think he's losing. I think he's going to lose his Money in the Bank. I know they did all that
yeah.
stuff for him to get it back, but it's just
I know, but then this is the thing. This is what piques my curiosity though, because if he's going to lose it, why did they give him it back? Because he did lose it. He cashed in a WWE Championship match with McIntyre in it. He cashed in. He was entered into the match, and then he lost. So
yeah,
if they were planning on him losing it, why did they give him it back? And why would they not just say, "But you've lost it"? Because the thing is, it's scripted. It's not real. So if they told him, right, you're going to be just that's it and that's you, then that would be it. But they've deliberately gave him this back, which makes me
yeah.
think, well, so are they going to do something with him then? Are they going to put the world title on him?
I know, but the champions that they've got right now, and even the challengers to the champions that they've got right now, like the Miz. Oh, come on! Like I
Could you
like the
imagine? Could you imagine he goes and beats Finn Balor? Could you imagine he cashes in on Balor?
hey. That's
Oh, everybody's got that shiver again.
like well,
Because if they're not going to have the Rumble winner challenge for the NXT title this year, they need to find something else to make it feel important. So why not a Money in the Bank cash in on the NXT? Because they do this every year. They'll do one little moment, one little thing that will make NXT seem really important. Because they did Survivor Series
yeah,
a couple of years ago. Then last year they did Charlotte Challenge and Ripley. This year they could have the Miz cash in on Balor.
yeah, and then they would have a like cash in like before Mania though, and then you could have a Miz and Balor rematch, but the Miz goes in as the champ.
I would love to see John Morrison in NXT. His style would fit in really well there.
Man, I was gutted when he left the first time because he was one of my favorites, and I was actually gutted that the Miz was beating him. Like, see when the Miz was champ the first time, Morrison feuded with him. and the Miz kept beating him. And I was like, ugh, like I hated it. And then he
He was
left.
great when he was Johnny Impact.
Uh, yeah, do you know what's funny? As the Impact guy, I missed that. I just seen that he was in it. I don't know, it passed me.
He was good as Johnny Mundo as well
He was
in
Johnny
Lucha
Lucha as
Underground.
well. Was it Johnny Mundo? Was it like, cause he was
I think that's what he was calling himself, was Johnny Mundo.
because like I think he also had another. It was somewhere else maybe that he put the end of the name of the promotion because he did it with Impact, but he did it with somebody else as well. Somebody that he was, and he was just running about being
Yeah,
Johnny whatever that he wrestled at. You know what I mean?
it's very very similar to what Johnny Gargano did, like Johnny Takeover and Johnny
Johnny
Match of the Year,
wrestling, and I,
Johnny Wrestling.
I the whole time John Morris is running about like, no, I'm Johnny Impact. Oh no, I'm like Johnny Underground, like
Johnny Nitro.
Johnny Nitro as well. Even though he was in WWE at the time and ECW, but he was Johnny Nitro. But
But
yeah,
yeah, like I say, we'll probably do another episode closer to Mania in between Fastlane, and just sort of see what it's kind of looking like closer to the
yeah.
time.
I also
I'm
see,
excited for this year's WrestleMania though.
yeah,
I reckon there's going to be a lot of good matches.
I also see big things or big moments for Keith Lee between now and Mania. Like they just need to, unless they give him a strong showing in the Elimination Chamber, but have him lose.
I don't think they'll put him in the chamber.
Ah,
I don't
my,
know because if he's
I,
not going to win, I don't really want him in it.
well, that's the thing. That's what you don't want. But they seem to be going with the thing of right now with Keith Lee. We want him to look really strong, but we don't want him to win.
I know.
He has to look really strong, but we can't have him win though. Like, like so that seems to be the thing. So I see him being in the chamber and just running through people, power bombing them, looking like a badass, and then getting beat somehow.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know.
But yeah, but that's another name that I want to see do better between now and Mania. I hope they do it, but probably not. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, well, I don't know if you agree if I'm calling it early, but I think that's all we've got time for.
Yeah, I think we've covered everything that we can cover at the moment. Like I say, we, we don't know much, but we still got an hour and a half of content, so that's something. Um,
We still got an hour and a half for stuff we didn't know about. Yes. Woo.
I mean, to be fair, that's literally every episode of this show, isn't it? It's me and you just talking for an hour and a half about stuff that we don't know.
uh, that's why you
But
got involved, though, right?
for the time being, I have been Lewis,
I have been Jason.
and this has been
Shoot the work.
Good Work.